All right, team. Let's do it. Let's do this. Welcome. Welcome to Wednesday. Very excited to have you all here. This is our first solutions of the year. So I think we did ski strong and tennis and golf last year. And as you guys know, I don't pre-record anything. We do everything live, and I reshoot things year after year because I'm always finding new ways and different ways to do stuff. So tennis, golf, mountaineering, or hiking, or excuse me, hiking and outdoorsmen are two different ones. There's one that's like we're gonna go for hikes and kind of do like ascents and some general things, kind of a day event. And then the other one is outdoorsman is what we're calling it, where you're out in the woods for a week, either hunting or doing like an excursion kind of a thing. So full adventures. So we'll have that. And then we have the essentials. That'll be a good one. The essentials for life. I think I have 7 different primary movements. So yeah, this is going to be a great series. If you've joined us via the basic Zoom link, please make sure either from the email or going to trainingtheolderadult.com that you sign up for the whole series. It's the only way for you to get the CEU certification, or the certificate at the end. You have to be included on that, so please hop on there. It takes 2 seconds. You punch in your email and you're golden. And I'm going to actually jump over there and show you guys where you'll be able to find the PDFs for today and the recording and all of that. So we have a lot of new things coming up. A couple of you have noticed our new logo up on the wall. Be Stronger Fitness is no more. We are officially TOA, Training the Older Adult, for online education for trainers and for in-person online training for our clients. So we are just one title. We merged into one title, but we love the bunker. So we have the TOA bunker that we had redone up on that side too. I'm hoping sometime this year, 2021, to do a live workshop from here, from my house in this studio. We're thinking we could take maybe 12 to 15 people, so maybe a very select group, and having you all here. I've got property, I've got space. We won't all just be packed in here, but we're thinking about doing something special, obviously later in the year, but keep an eye out for that. Okay, that could be to come. Everybody, a couple comments on the logos and everything we have up on here. Give me a little digital thumbs up. Everybody's seeing my screen, right? I've been having issues with Zoom. Awesome. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, everyone. With Zoom showing me, I don't know if you guys get this, but it shows that I'm sharing my screen, but everybody else goes, no, it's just black. So you have to like reshare a couple of times to get it to work. So if anything comes about, I've got my chat open. You feel free to let me know. All right, let's pop over to the website really quick. I want to show everybody where you can log in here, where you'll be able to find all of this. So right up here, when you head to trainingtheolderadult.com, under your name, let me make sure I got my chat here with me so I can see you guys. We got our name right up on here, and if you haven't created a login, very simple. You just punch in there. You want to do your password, and then punch in your new password, and then you're all set. But under your name or under your picture, once logged in, you'll hit library, and it takes you to here. Now, if you haven't done another course with us, all you'll see is athletic solutions. But if you're in TOA Select, which is our every Wednesday for the entire year, $99 a month, I give you a ton of content, library, all kinds of great stuff in there. Thousands of different things that will be added in as the year goes on, from archive videos to articles, all this. You'll see that. Our community, where we do community chats and discussions, TOA Live that Evan and I just did, that Rick Howard and I are going to be doing at the end of this year. So if you're interested in LTAD, long-term athletic development, and LTFD, long-term functional development, Rick and I will be doing from the cradle to the grave, the whole thing, across the gamut. He works with youth, and I work with the elderly or the older, and we will kind of cover that whole thing. TOA Mentorship in a Box. We have OTOA starting next week, which is our online training one. So any of those you see, they'll pop up here. And then you'll click on that guy. It takes you to your little welcome in here. Here's gardening, tennis, hiking, ski strong, essentials, all that. Click on gardening. And then here is our landing page for gardening. The video will be here. And our download is right here. You got your little download. Here's our comments from everybody. And you click this guy up there, you will see our PDF download. You can click on that and you'll be able to have all the slides that you were about to see that I'm going to be presenting on. So let's get the show on the road. I'm going to turn off my heater and get ready to roll. All right. I have had at least 15 clients over the last, I'd say 5 years that have hurt themselves pretty badly gardening. And I remember when I first put this up, like I posted that I was going to do this, and within a minute somebody put up like, is this a joke? And I thought, like, are people going to think I'm teasing? Like, oh, we're going to strength train for gardening. Like, I'm starting to. We've had so many injuries, and we've had it's such an important life component for our clients to want to be able to continue to do this. We're in, California. It's like it rains 10 days out of the year here if we're lucky. So it's great to garden here. We've got great soils and sunshine, and Napa to up to Apple Hill, you can grow stuff like crazy here. We don't even know what we're doing, Keegan and I, and she's got a great garden. I mean, she's much more experienced and educated on it and just crushes it. But again, we've been doing it for like 3 years. We're just trying to figure things out on how to grow it, and it's happening. So this is a big part of California life, and our clients, we want to make sure that we're equipping them and training them and prepping them to do these things. And it's if you haven't done it before, it's a very physical job. It's not just, digging soil and dropping seeds. You got a lot to do pending. You haven't built your garden. You have to build boxes. You have to, put up fencing to protect from the very aggressive deer that come in and eat everything. Like our deers are a bunch of assholes out here, man. They jump fences and hurdle cars, and we have like the Bo Jacksons of deer in our area here. And they're very territorial too. So we have to put up fences and wiring, and no barbed wiring or anything. We just want to keep them away, from stuff. There's a lot of prep that goes into keeping, your hard work preserved. So we'll get into that a bit. This was just 2 weeks ago. We planted 6 fruit trees. We have 2 apple trees, a granny and a what? And a pink lady. Thank you. We got a nectarine, we got a pear, we got a pomegranate, and we got an orange tree. And so, yeah, that's my favorite, the caracara. My favorite. This was a lot of work. The digging during this time of year is fantastic. There's other times of year where the clay is hard as a rock. You're doing wheelbarrowing, you're picking up the plants, they're 20, 30 pounds, you've got bags of soil, you're shoveling, transferring those weights back and forth. It is a workout in itself. And this was, 2 hours of work, and we're just kind of prepping to put these trees in. We have to get water to them next, putting in all the piping, if you're going to do drip systems, all of that. So all of those things come in. I'll turn this off so we quit making everybody sick. This is a big piece of what we're doing to supply and create this environment. You've got to be down on the ground, and you have many, many opportunities to bend over wrong, pick up wrong, or be in, the kneeling, half kneeling, 3-point, 6-point, 5-point positions incorrectly and hurt yourself. So we're first going to talk about the basic components or the basic ideas that come into gardening, the more common injuries or limitations that we want to strength train and work mobility and stability for with our clients to make sure they're prepped and ready to do it. We're going to go through a couple of those mobilities. I'm going to repeat through some video and show you guys. And one thing, like when we get to the resistance training, I want you to look and see that the actions that we're doing and that we're training for, like, let me preface it with this. If you're a golfer, you don't grab a 10-pound barbell and swing the barbell like a golf club to get better at golfing, right? So, and if you're a basketball player, you don't shoot 12-pound medicine balls to try to get more muscular and stronger. That by moving heavier and incorrect implements to what you normally do, you make yourself slower, you create bad habits. we're not talking about a performance job here, right? We're not talking about like your gardening skills or an 8 out of 10, or the judge is going to assess you or dock you points because you missed the finish. Like, it's a different component. So in a sense, we are going to look at the performance of gardening and try to train specifically to that. Okay. So I want you to kind of keep that in mind. It's not like, boy, we're trying to emulate shoveling. That's not the case, but we're going to be shoveling. So we want to create and strengthen the muscles needed to assist us in performing that movement. Okay. So kind of keep that in mind as we get through the resistance training exercises. And then I kind of created like a little mock workout of how you could say like, okay, this is our gardening workout, and you can create all kinds of, branches and pieces off from that. But I wanted to give you something that you could take home with you. Okay. All right. Movement components here as we get into this. We're going to look a lot at hinging. Hinging is going to be probably the most susceptible injury pattern for us. There's so much to do here from the digging and removal of dirt, putting it back, plants in and out. You're at all kinds of funky, weird angles. Things to think about are working on hinging patterns in the gym, wide stance. Okay, we call it like a sumo hinge, wide feet, a staggered stance hinge, a different angle of attack, different levels and heights, knowing that we're going to be in some weird positions here to address plants to garden boxes and anything else that we do. Prise. Imagine you just buried your shovel, 12 inches deep into the soil, and now we are ready to pry the shovel back, to unearth that soil. That prying component can become dangerous for our clients with shoulder injuries, arthritic issues of the hands, sensitive lower backs. So we've had quite a few clients that have attempted to use Maddox or a pickaxe and haven't hurt themselves in the act of like hurting themselves with the axe, but in the attempt to perform and like use it, they stick it into the earth, and as they're trying to get it back out of the ground, they end up hurting their backs. So something else to address on that. Rows and pulls. Okay, we're going to be yanking and pulling on stuff, all kinds of different angles. Proper pickups for sure. Jackie's, I think she's on here as well. We just saw pictures of her training for life, right? She's moving all these logs from her truck into her house, ready to prop and set up all these pieces of wood to split and to burn, that kind of thing. Like, we are going to be transferring weights, trees, bags of soil, potting goods, lines for the water, all of this. You're going to be to and fro, back and forth, adjusting and picking up different tensions and different loads, and carrying kind of awkward implements for sure. To the point where we've actually created a lift or a carry called the pot carry, because that the awkward way you have to kind of carry a potted plant in front of you. We want to train for that. So not only the proper pickup components, but then transferring it to where we're going to go, and then really mastering the 3-point, 4-point, 5-point, and 6-point positions, basically being on your hands and knees and keeping yourself in a supported position while performing all the acts that you need to do on the ground. I personally spend a lot of time kneeling and or on both knees, half kneeling or kneeling, and invest in like a $50 pair of like gelled knee pads that I will wear if I'm working on a project in the house or out in the garden. I find that I spend enough time there, it's worth the investment. So if this is something that clients are going to do often, we see the little 1-inch, foam pads that people will bring out there. It's usually not enough. Remember, your patella floats, right? And if your toe isn't tucked underneath you and engaged the whole time, and you're not kind of actively thinking about squeezing your anterior tib and your quad, your patella is going to float around with all your body weight on top of it while you're kneeling. So having something down there, a fitted gelled knee pad is probably going to be a good suggestion for our clients to utilize in that position a lot. The improper movement pattern is our greatest concern. So seeing individuals that are going to bend over like this, okay, that are going to load their bodies in this position, we're going to see really common lower back strains, throwouts, tweaks, that kind of thing. The 3-point rule. Ideally, if you have lower back or hip issues, we want to have 3 points of contact as often as possible. So either 2 feet in a hand or 2 knees in a hand, 1 knee and 2 hands, however we're going to go about it. We're going to get our body to 3 points of contact to support our back while in the act of doing whatever we're doing. And then the buddy system saves pain, that's for sure. Use your friends, use your partners. You got a plant that's really big, you got a soil bag that's really heavy, just get another person. Take your time, be smart about it. It's an ego thing for us for sure. We've all been there. I'm taking one load of all the groceries in the house. I just saw Keegan come slamming through the door a few days ago. And I'm like, she got it all. She's got all 12 bags in one carry. I do the same thing. And then you get to the door and you put all 12 in one arm while your right hand, we imagine why our left arms are so strong, right? We're always overloading them as we come in. Injuries and concerns, neck pain, forward head looking down, straining positions. It's kind of the cell phone situation as well, where we're always kind of down and forward into that. So considerations there. Lower back pain, strains, and then sciatic issues can definitely come from this. Shoulder tendonitis, we're doing a lot of work about the shoulder. Really, that extends all the way down into the elbow. Technically, it's golfer elbow and tennis elbow. You'll hear those terms thrown around, but it's itises of the elbow, overuse, and inflammations from there. So we'll see it all the way down to the hand, arthritic flare-ups, carpal tunnel syndromes. When on the ground, Keegan and I spent 3 weeks once, maybe 2 weeks once, putting in Spanish tiles in one of my clients' backyard. We're talking 2,400 square foot of flooring she was putting in, like a backyard patio area, and we had to put in 3,000 of these 8x8 inch tiles. We were down on our hands and knees so much. You have one hand on the ground and you're doing the trowel with the other or replacing with both hands, that my hands were going numb from the carpal tunnel collapse and the pressure. My fat pads, my hands hurt. Like it was so much pressure and damage on my hands. I actually had damage. I had like nerve damage in my hands and had basically like a mild case of like neuropathy of the hands from the cutoff of and the pressure that we were placing through that collapse of that tunnel. This can bring about, depending on how often people are out doing this, the same thing. So though our 3 points of contact are there to assist us with our back, we got to be careful we're not overloading the hands. We'll talk about bursitis of the knees, either from impacts of being on them too much or from sitting in those deep squatted positions for really long periods of time, the catcher kind of position, if individuals are not, capable and able and endured enough to be able to stay in those positions for long periods of time. And then your pollicis tendon overuse, basically, of the thumb. There are concerns with this. It is a trap keeper's thumb is one of the more common injuries. I know this is a little gross, but the story that comes with this, the trap keeper thumb, basically they would catch, rabbits or animals, whatever it was. They would hold them by the ears or the head and then swing the body around their hand to kill the animal quickly. But in doing that, it would strain their thumb and rotate their thumb externally while their hand went the other direction, and it would tear the ligament on the inside of the thumb, thus giving them this trap keeper thumb. And a lot of individuals, you could tell, were hunters because their hands didn't work very well, or I guess trappers would be the right term. This can come about, these injuries can come about from excessive any use of the hand, but specifically with gardening and the different positions that we're going to be digging and pulling and pushing and picking up bags, doing all this from, there's some issues and some research to support some thumb injuries that we just wanted to become aware of. Okay. And then here's a very good example. Now, mind you, my wife is doing this on purpose. I asked her to do this. All of this was filmed in our garden. Okay. And she's a wonderful actress, showing the 3-point position, but showing it incorrectly. Okay. And what we're talking about here, yes, she has 3 points, but round and broken at the back. You see her wanting to flatten her back out and lower her butt to get into a better position. And I'm cueing her ever so politely to continue to do it wrong. So things like that position are something that we're going to want to address to our clients often. And this comes with the reoccurring and consistent practice over and over and over again. How many of you have done this? Okay, give me a digital hand raise if you guys have had this happen to you. Okay, right next to your name, it has a little thing that says hand raise. And so do that if this has happened. You ask a client, go grab that weight. And they go over and they get it and they pick it up perfectly. Lopez, I haven't even asked it yet. Put your hand up. It's happened to me. It's definitely happened. So you say, can you go over and pick up that weight? And they go over and they pick it up and they pick it up perfectly. And they do, it's a kettlebell, and they do 10 reps, and you ask them to put it away, and they walk back over and they just round over their back and they plop the weight back down. So raise your hand if you get that, where in the act, oh my God, everybody's hand just shot up. Look at this, 17, 18, 20. All right, there we go. So that's what I'm talking about. That was great. It went from 0 to 21 like that. This is the case, is when we're asking the client to perform the lift, it's done great. But what about every other time, right? Picking up their shoes, getting the dryer lint sheets, picking up the towels, picking up the kids' Legos, picking up things outside, because it's not a heavy load or I'm not there watching, right? Their application and their process, I'll just bend over and pick it up. And so we need to constantly reiterate. The best way to get your message across is through education. So when we start throwing out terms like, you do 100 of these hinges a day, it's a pretty good likelihood you're going to throw your back out if we don't continue to hinge and move properly. And I always say things like, I'm the devil or the angel, whichever one I am in your life, on your shoulder, and pretend I'm always there watching you, right? With everything you pick up going, da, 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 butt out, chest up, right? Lower the hips, keep your head up, like always reminding you of those little cues, those little actions. So we need to address that and tell the clients, I get you for 2 hours a week or 3 hours a week. There's 168 hours here. So what you do with the other 165, I don't get to see it. And I need this to transfer out there, right? So we know this is happening. We've got to address it. Let's get as many good practices as we can in this moment. All right. Our mobilities, our movement preps, our primers, whatever terms you want to use for these, there's some key ones for us here. The 3-step hinge and hold, 6-point thoracic rotation, some of our gait positions, gait steps and half kneeling, and then some RDL variations that we're going to show you. Okay. All right. So here's our first one. We are going to showcase this guy here. What I am doing, my wife is getting her workout in. I forgot one video to record when everybody was gone. So this is a 3-step hinge and hold. Great exercise to do right out of the gate. Like client comes in and you're like, perfect, put your stuff down properly, don't bend over, and then start your 3-step hinge and holds for me. This is something we can ask our clients to do, these menus like this, the day that they're going to garden, because I don't have to lay down on the ground to do this, right? They can do this walking outside, doing their stuff, and just start prepping each hamstring, each glute as they go. So it's a 3-step hinge. You're in a heel to toe relationship. Okay, front heel, back toe, soft knees on both. And I'm just practicing this pre-stretch on the front leg, proper hinge action, and just warming up the back, warming up my glutes, my hammies, okay, and just working this really good mechanical advantage. The next action on here is the thoracic rotation. I like to take this from a 6-point, okay, and you can see each one of these, like I kind of get there. I like to push back, stretch the lower back glute a little bit, point down first, preemptive stretch, and then come up and getting a little higher. Okay, a little more rock back, round the back, get into that little like half child's pose. Just start to loosen up some of these muscles, getting a little higher. And with each one, every time we come up, let your air out. Okay, deep breath in and blow out. Reach up there, and we just slowly start to do this. You can do this standing. Again, like I said, if the clients don't want to get down on their wet grass or dirt, just have them put their hands on a chair or on a bench, and they can perform this before prep. If you're in the gym, obviously, you just pop down on your mat and you get rolling from there, okay? Into a couple more of these, the single leg RDL. This is a take it, leave it drill. When prepping and warming up, we can just do single leg RDLs. If you can't do a single leg RDL, I'll show you a kickstand here in a second where you can have both feet on the floor. Just one is kind of the emphasized or the focused leg. And then if you have any questions about Barbies, I am proficient and well educated on all these guys back here. Key went to go pick up Peyton, so I was filming, and Bristol's in the back here enjoying herself and playing. We're having a good time. So single leg RDL, down take it, down leave it. This is a reoccurring action out in the garden more than probably anything else, from shovels and gloves to just picking up dirt and hose and anything you've cut and you've trimmed. I do hinges and bendovers like this a billion times every time we're out. We just did pull saws and cut down We've got like a 12-foot pole saw that I borrow from my father-in-law, and we cut down all these trees and branches, everything in the back of the house back here. We've got probably 25,000 pounds of cut down shrubbery that we then had to cut, drag all the way up and back. But when you drop them, all the branches break off. So then you got to go through and do 100 little pickups to get all these up. It's one bad bend over, not a proper pickup, that's going to put you in that position. And remember, a massive amount of lifts, okay, that you do just a little bit out of posture, all add up to the time when you're in the kitchen and you drop a napkin and you bend over to get it, and that's when your back goes out. It won't happen when you're dragging the 150-pound branch that you just cut off. It's because you bent over to get that one incorrectly, and every other one out there just a little bit wrong, and now you're super stressed, and all it needs was one more straw, right, to break the camel's back, and that just happened to be it. The more times I've thrown my back out, it's been with the dryer lint sheet, with pillows. I'm folding the towels, and I just bend over wrong, and out it goes. But I always look back and go, what did I do before this? I did 1,000 swings in a workout, or whatever I did, a massive amount of hinges is my point, with just a little bit out of position, and you end up, tweaking something. So the single leg RDL or the kickstand RDL in a replacement, take it, leave it, take it, leave it. Great practice for us to implement with our gardening clients. So these are little gait drills. Okay, I like to use the cones. These are just little indicators, working with our clients on taking a little bit deeper steps, learning to transition back from a deeper split position. Okay, we're not even really working into a split squat until the very last one. We get down to that knee, we take that hip flexor stretch, hold that for 5 to 10 seconds, and then we work our way back up and work on pushing back from that position. So short, transition, shift the weight, return, just one of those little drills that takes your clients, maybe the older clients who are worried about falling, and they're always taking these little baby steps to try to open them up, get them moving, right? Get them opening up and extending their gait, and then they can go down to a knee if they're capable, and then work a little stretch there. And then we can do without the knee pad, just taking strict steps, deeper and deeper, big transition of the weight here, working way out there, okay, and trying to get them in some comfortable positions, and then working back. The gait variations are pretty vital for us, because you're going to be in a bunch of different awkward positions, manipulating things in different ways, walking through little narrow, in between boxes, narrow little paths. Gait variations are pretty key. All right, so here are the 10 lifts that we're going to go through. I got a half hour to kind of burn through these, so bear with me. I'll try not to elaborate too much on them. Our first one is twofold here: the reverse push-up, and then we'll talk about some of the hand management. We're looking at a lot of lower back stress from raking. More injuries occur in raking as far as outdoor activities go than most. This action, ipsilateral or contralateral, however you're holding, can create this constant stress and pressure that we're pulling back, but we also don't really look at how much we're utilizing our arms and the different pulls, the engagements, the bite into the dirt and the material to try to pull this across. So we can attack some of this musculature from a reverse grip push-up. I like these. This is the little tricep strap, okay, that we would use. You put your hands in. I'm not worried about extending my wrist really wide. I'm just opening my hands so the strap hooks onto my hand. And as I withdraw and do my reverse push-up, the extensors of my hand, my wrist, my forearms are all going to engage, thus kind of building the strength and the support needed. Because remember, we flex and grip our hands with everything we do through the day. Every exercise we do in the workout, we're gripping, we're flexing, and we're maybe flexing forward, gripping with the wrist at the same time. So we're only as strong as our weakest link or our weakest side. So if I can work more extension in my hand and the extensors of my wrist and my forearms, I'm going to be that much stronger, that much more supported, and in an injury prevention way, much more equipped to perform raking actions like this or shoveling actions as you see here in a minute. The backside of the forearm is pretty vital for us. If you think of it like a pulley, our wrist and hand flexors and grippers are dominant 3-to-1. I mean, we do so much, right? So we need to address that. We got to work the other side. And then doing little rubber bands like these guys here, they're like $9 for these. If I could recommend like a certain brand, I've tried almost all of them. They're all kind of the same. You just do rubber band finger extensors on Amazon or on YouTube, or not YouTube, on Google. They're all like $6 to $8, $10, and you get a little set of them. They're great. All kinds of variations of them. Awesome though, for arthritic components of the hand, articulation components of the hand, and working those clients that are starting to lose that ability to flex their phalanges, right, and work with their hands to kind of strengthen and engage that musculature in there. All right, moving on here to the half kneeling deloaded split squat. So this is a piece that when you see it, you're like, this is kind of goofy. First, wave to your neighbor, hey. And then when you go to pick up your tools, if you have individuals that have lower back injuries, this is important for us. And I know it takes an extra couple of seconds. I know it might look a little silly, but when you're hinging and bending over a billion times in a workout, this is actually a really good action for us to do. So teaching our clients, hey, you're picking up some things that are a little heavier, a little longer, a little more awkward or difficult to manipulate. Let's get into this half kneeling position rather than just bending over. And to address that and to work with it, you can just do these deloads, okay? Little weights or just their body weight if they're, struggling with being able. You can put a bench on each side of them as well, a bench on each side, so they can put their hands down. So they might go to a knee and just need to push with their hands a little to help them get up. If they're not quite capable of doing that yet. These deloads, basically, you're taking away all the momentum, all the eccentric stretch, all of the slingshot, eccentric, right? That slingshot component of the quad and the glute. When you perform a split squat and you don't take a break, that stretch of the muscle just kind of fires you back up there. In this case, we take a complete unload, shut it all off, and now it's just pure strength to bite and push you back up. So we want to practice that. In doing so, look at that. I'm doing like 40 of them. I haven't even flinched. It's like a 12-second video on a loop. It makes me look strong. You really get to address that like deep, that deep split squat or deep lunged position and engaging load. You can have 3 or 4 different weights down there. Go down to a knee, take one, go up, put it in the other hand, go down, take it again, put it in the other hand, and have them just start loading up. Use a couple of 4 or 5 pound, dumbbells where they can hold 2 or 3 in one hand and just start to progress from that guy. All right, the single leg, take it, leave it. So, and then, I noticed the shovel that I need to pick up ipsilaterally. That's good. And back away, good. Oh, okay. Oh, we got to pick up the shovel again. Oh, wait. Oh, contralateral pickup this time. God damn it, that's an ipsilateral one again. Jesus, drop it, back it up. These are the shatty actors I have to work with. Grad. Here we go. Hinge. And there we go. That's what I'm looking for. All right. So what I had to leave this in there just to embarrass her a little bit. She is a biology grad, by the way, not a kines grad. So what we're looking for, what I'm trying to sell here for you guys is this hinging action. Now I got everything going. This hinging action, the take it, leave it component, same idea. Here is this kickstand RDL that I'm talking about, right? You see this action that she's able to just take 1/2 of a second, stagger 1 foot back, work on your alignment, and work on these proper hinges. Now, typically people would just stay down in the hinge and then pull, 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 pull. I get it. In the beginning, though, as we're starting to practice, like she's kind of simulating what we would do, in the weight room as I'm doing over on this side, right? Trying to show these repeaters, these repeat actions. If we're going to have people sit in these deeper hinged exposed positions to pull weeds, pull grass, dig around in here, work in the soils, we're going to need them to be sound and capable of holding those positions for a while. I was just on a call with my man Todd, who I think is on here too, another trainer that I get to work with. And I'm not a fan of bent over rows. I don't like doing a barbell row. I don't like doing dumbbell bent over rows. I'll do them with a single arm. And I think it's just too exposed of a position for us to hold proper and repeated row over and over again without our clients falling out of position. So if I feel that's a bit of a risk to do in the weight room, what are they going to do 40, 50, 60 of them out, in the garden? It's a concern. If we can stagger a stance that opens the base a little wider, actually gives you a deeper hinging action, deeper range of motion. for them to properly hinge, and or do a couple stand up, allow yourself to reset each time. Because basically what happens is you load your hammies, you hinge, and then your hammies start to fatigue, you start to bend your knees a little, you start to round your back, and then the back has taken over. Where if I do a hinge, hold for 2 or 3 seconds, stand up, go to a new position, attempt it again, you might hear this. If you've never hurt your back before, you're like, this sounds ridiculous. You will do anything in your power to not throw your back out again once you've done it, right? And if it means taking an extra second or two to reposition, like, go ahead and show me here. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Give me your digital hand raise. You've thrown your back out before and you're like, this is the worst thing. I can't do anything. Look at the numbers going. Okay. You know, now when you have that experience, you're like, you don't wish that on anybody, let alone want to experience it again yourself. Thank you. Yeah, we had more than 30% of you just raised your hand. Okay, that you've experienced that. So these little actions, these little extra steps here and there, they can go a long way for our clients. All right, I've had, I want to say at least 3, maybe more clients that have hurt themselves doing this action here. For our first one, prepping, they cut the bag of soil and then they have to lift it up and empty it out, right? They do the little shake or the lift. And it's usually from the improper hinge, or they'll hurt their hand or their elbow in the attempt to lift. In many cases, they'll leave it on the ground and then cut it. Well, now we've got to transfer it with the wheelbarrow. So depending on what they want to do, we can address the bag of soil, cut it, and then transfer it, move it over. Just repetitive action, some different components you can do, from reverse bicep curls with dumbbells to, this is just called a reverse hammer curl with a kettlebell. Okay, you can just kind of work that musculature, work these different actions. I can add in little hinging components to this. And it doesn't need to be super heavy, right? You can do this with, a 10 or a 15 pound kettlebell, or 7.5 or 10 pound dumbbells, and just kind of work it into some of the complexes or some of the actions that they'll be doing in their workouts. Now, we're talking about relating this back to real life and telling your clients, I don't want you to grab a kettlebell and shake it up and down like you're trying to dump soil out of it. I'm not talking about that specific. But when asking a client to do a kettlebell squat to a reverse curl, they might ask you, why am I doing this? And you have some ammunition now to come in and just be like, all right, let's talk about you being in the garden and here and there, right? This one is really, really big, this 6-point position. So watch Keeg as she's down in this position here. She's got to till this whole thing up. This is old soil, right? And so she's got to chop it all up, and then all that stuff behind her, right back in that, what's that called? The compost pile. Thank you. She's got eggshells and orange peels and everything else in there. All that's going to get tilled up and mixed in and all this. So first you got to chop and loosen all this stuff up, right? So in the act of being down in this, 6-point position, shifting to a 5-point while she's shoveling, she's gonna be switching back and forth. I mean, she's working, man. She's got to dig in there and chop away at that shit. Like, it's going to take some time and some effort. Injuries can occur in this position. Tweaks to the back, especially if you're just right arming it the whole time, your left lower back's going to start to ache. Your right glute is going to start to ache. Your left knee, it's all ping pong back and forth through the body from the over counter that you're doing as your body starts to stress. So some of the actions that we can do in the weight room, we call this a reclined row from the 6-point position. Notice I have a fat bell, but the hand I'm propped up on, I'm on a kettlebell. I need a higher implement. So I'm trying to kind of give myself enough range to fully extend my arm down, and it doesn't top out at the bottom. If I had 2 fat bells or 2 kettlebells, the weight would hit the ground, right? Because I'm only as high as the equal height of the other implement. So you want to be just a little bit higher so you can work a deeper, fuller range of motion, okay, engage into that posterior action. But I want to be reclined. I want to teach my clients to sit back and shift into that little counter and let's put the pressure back through my butt, which is bigger than if I'm over my hands in the center of my back. And you can see the stress point for Keegan, right in the middle of the spine there. She's digging away. Where if she would sit back and maybe get a little closer with her knees, that might be technique-wise, not that I'm some garden guru, technique-wise might be a little bit better. All right, the proper pickups, okay? Engaging a weight, picking it up, taking a few steps, putting that weight down. Picking it up, taking a few steps, and putting it down, right? We're going to do this a lot, from soils to the pots to your pieces of equipment, whatever it might be. So training that, simulating these actions into the weight room, just these simple take it, leave it's, right? I cannot personally take a kettlebell, I'd say other than maybe a 70 pounder, which is high enough. Anything lighter, I have to bring the floor up to me. So I bring a plate over, I stand direct over the plate, which is a great way to establish the right foot position, because most people fit right around that plate and they're in a very good squat. And you can also practice putting the implement back in the right spot every time. You literally have them straddle right over the implement, stand directly over the top of it. And to get down, to get to that weight, they have to move their butt back first. When you move your hips back first, we're initiating our hinge action via the hips through your butt, not just squatting vertically through your back or through your knees. Okay. My shoulders, see how I just round a tiny bit? I could be just a little bit better in my shoulder, or maybe an inch or two higher with a plate on the floor would put me in a little bit better position. Okay. All right. Now, some of the more violent acts that we're going to get into. Okay. And in this is a Maddox. If you haven't used one of these before, watch a couple of these. I work with this a lot, but when you're working with clay, especially when it's wet, it's going to get stuck in there. You're going to get chunks of it you're going to have to work with. There's a very violent aspect to digging and chopping away in this. And your back kind of works as a counter hinge, a counter strike. So we want to work with this guy as a like a drop hinge or a drop snatch kind of position, with countering the weight, striking that weight back, but countering by putting your butt back and like displacing that mass as you deliver the blow and deliver the implement into the earth. So there's a technique to this. We call it looking through the window as well. You take the implement all the way overhead and then pull straight down. You'll see a lot of people round the shoulder and strike across. You're creating a lot of rotation then. Not that I'm, again, learning this from a master component of being a trench digger or anything along these lines. I've done this a lot, and from working with sledgehammers for throwing the hammer, a lot of vertical striking that we would do. We learned the proper techniques from our coaches, and a lot of our coaches worked labor jobs, and so they would show us this vertical strike versus this rotation, or like swinging of the weight around your head. You've got to get it straight over the top and then deliver that implement down. And it can produce a lot of power, but we're talking about a lot of swings and a lot of deliveries over and over and over again. And then getting the implement out of the earth can be just as tricky, because you're kind of pulling up and pulling back at the same time. And this can tweak the back if we're not prepped in the right position there. So to practice some of these actions and these violent acts, we can work in these half kneeling slams, right? Little sand bells, throwing the butt back, working that counter slam. And then we can start to simulate the idea. Let's get the implement overhead. Let's rotate it overhead. Let's rotate it overhead and then strike down. Now, I get it that a lot of the gardening actions, some people might not be swinging Maddoxes or doing post hole digging, but a lot of people might. So incorporating this in, having these pieces here, these vertical slams, these actions, a lot of work in the shoulders. I had one of my buddy, Justin, he saw this post hole one that I put on as one of our promos. And he's like, man, I spent a whole summer doing that once and I got jacked. It's a lot of work, but it's Justin, but it's super, super violent in the forearms and the hands. Like the impact of the implement, it reverberates back through your arms. You guys ever do any work like that? Show me by hands on here. That impact back, like when you get done, your hands are shaking, you can barely look at the numbers light up. Yep. Lots of people doing that. Now you guys experience that feeling that you look kind of like Keegan does down there at the bottom. Like when you get done, you can just lay down, right? Good job, everybody. So having some good opportunities to practice simulating the idea of striking an implement, right? Getting angry, getting a little mad at it. Look at her go. Like she's unloading on that thing. Like we want it to be a little violent and a little angry, so they get the idea of, delivering a blow. Make each one of these strikes matter, as they come in there. And that will carry over and transfer for us pretty well, I think, once they get out to the garden. And it's not like we're gardening for time or gardening for speed, but we do want to be efficient, okay? All right, here's another big injury one. This is going to come up a lot. Working with the wheelbarrows, okay, your proper pickups, and then you're taking out the trash here. You got to wheel these little guys in and out as we go. So working on your loaded carries and transfers from here, but it all kind of starts with this leverage lifting. If you've worked with a wheelbarrow before, very difficult to balance, especially if there's a lot of weight in there. It's designed to have each handle independent, so it gives and it shifts with the weight. And so you can use the arms as kind of a steering guide, right? As a prop, if you will. If the weight starts to shift to the right, you can lift up on the right and pivot it back. If it was all locked solid in one piece, it would just tip over, with the momentum. So they're actually designed pretty cool to, to be able to work into this position. Some of them have two wheels that take the balance out of it. A lot of our clients will have that. The problem with that is you don't have to balance it anymore. So you get a little overconfident with how much you can put in it. And now we're battling with how much load we have to lever. So a piece to add to that, a practice piece to that, is just working on your hinge mechanics with two levers. Not everybody has landmines. I get it. You can work the same action as holding on to two kettlebells, but it doesn't really get you that leverage point feeling of working against a pivot, working against one point that's going to be fixed with a load in there, and then you can transition, work through the action, add a little shrug to it, add a little dynamic piece to it, right? And then someone comes running out to ask you to make them a peanut butter and honey sandwich. They come charging in here. My kid's always hungry. Anytime she's bored, she's like, I'm hungry. I think I was the same way. And that's why I was 280 pounds as a junior. All right. So here's a little simulation for it. This is called a Lily shrug. If you guys haven't done these before, really, really good action. RDL hinge at the bottom. As you come up, trying to kind of create 180 degrees of rotation at the top, pulling the shoulders back, breaking at the elbow just a little bit. This kind of simulates that same action, the engagement, lift the wheelbarrow, set the shoulders, off you go, okay? So this is a good one if you don't have landmines that you can do this with. And you can use just one landmine and do one arm at a time, but for us to kind of mimic this action, this works pretty well, okay? And then you can always just do repeats, with the wheelbarrow too, as you go through there. The kids love this. They have so much fun. I wish she would have told me what a doofus I look like with my little hat on. It was super cold this morning. That morning we were doing this, and you get, when you're bald, you don't have a lot of protection up there. You gotta take care of things. All right, here's our pry levers. Okay, this one is another one where I see a lot of our clients will get hurt prying the lever down of the shovel. Trying to dig out that clay or that heavy rock, whatever they're working with. Okay, that leverage barreling down on this thing. So one of the techniques that we implemented into this is a landmine with bands leveraged from above. So it's just working these single arm, pry lever pull downs in a half kneeling position. You can do it standing, but you got to shorten up the bands. The angle of attack isn't as great. So just kind of working through these. We have lifting pins at the top of the rack, or you could hook in carabiners or whatever high anchors you have. You loop a couple bands on there, put it on your bar, you're in business, you're ready to roll. So these are easily set up and easily rigged up, little exercises, but they can be pretty beneficial and help us out quite a bit in this prying action for the clients. The leverage of the landmine that can guide the arm back up, okay, because the band's pulling, right? These are heavy bands you have on. The band's going to pull you back up. We can train the overhead action by allowing the arm basically to relax on the up and just let the band pull. So with those clients that are having a hard time, maybe with frozen shoulders or impingements of the shoulder, to allow the scapula to kind of slide back and then just let the arm out, it'll just pull you to a near vertical position. You see how I kind of lean forward each time? Like I'm trying to let it get me to vertical, and then I'll heave it back, and lock it back down. In the pulling action, think about your armpit being full of grapes, and you are going to squish it, right, with your tricep into the armpit. Just squish it down, pull down, and that will engage more lat than if you think pull my hand to my chin or my hand to my shoulder. That's going to be more bicep. So we want to get the bigger muscles to engage and fire first. All right, and then into our carries. There's a lot of different options here for our carries. You're going to see some very good acting here as well. Our proper pickup of the two, the two cans. Okay, as we go through, she's such a model, such a prima donna. I love it. She's like, how am I supposed to? It's not even heavy. When you get people that lift a lot, it's hard to pretend to do it lighter. So little actions like here's the pot carry. Okay, this is a really good one that we do. We are going to see that a lot with our clients, from picking up different plants and pots to having to transfer different implements or bags of soil or whatever it is they're carrying with, getting into these good squat positions. We talked about that take it, leave it, where you go directly over the top, right? And you get down to it. So that's going to be a good one for us to practice. I can practice a pickup and then shifting the weight over to, I call it the gunslinger or the suitcase position, proper pickup, shift it into position. So I just want to work with moving an implement, maybe that's a little unstable, right? Depending on what I'm picking up, pick it up a few times, put it on one side, carry it down, turn around, come on back, okay, transition that weight as I shift back around, bring it to the inside, set it down, bring it back to the outside, just training my shoulder, training all the musculatures in my arm and my hips to kind of counter and work with, these awkward things that we're going to carry. Buckets of water and buckets of dirt and soil and weeds. It just all kinds of different stuff that you're going to, odd angles of strength. A sling and carry, right? Picking up soil, slinging it up onto the shoulder and carrying it from there. There's going to be different, suitcase components, different Zercher carry components where they bring the weight up or the bag up to their chest and carry it. It's just different approaches, different attacks per the implement, and allowing the client to carry the load in positions that they are most confident and capable. But a lot of times the implement will dictate that, whatever they're carrying is gonna say, like, you can't, sling it onto your shoulder, your strongest position. This thing's too heavy. You're gonna have to carry it in the pot carry position. Well, let's train them all just in case. Okay. All right. So here's a little mock workout for you. All right. Let's start by doing some deload, half kneeling body weight split squats. So have them step over a pad, split squat down, deload the knee, re-engage, come up, do 5, go to the other side, do 5. Grab a kettlebell. We're going to do that reverse hammer curl, right? You can maybe add a little hinge or a squat to it if you want, but we'll knock out 10 hammer curls. And then our little interval in between here, we're going to do a proper pickup and a transfer of a pot carry. And then we'll do our 6-point reclined row. So get them leaning back, butt to ankles, row for 10, switch the implements, row for 10. We'll have them spin around on the knee pad. Now we're on to slams. So grab the sandbell, big reach and strike. Next carry, okay, it's a 10-pound sandbag. Have them sling that sandbag on their shoulder, carry it down 50 feet, slam it, pick it up, carry it back on the other shoulder, slam it. Then we'll go over to the landmine, high bands. We're down on one knee again, doing that lever pull down, right? Lever pull down, 10 on the right, 10 on the left. And then we'll have them do a dual landmine, the 2 landmine wheelbarrow pickups, right? The little hinge with the retraction. Then we'll have them pick up one heavy dumbbell, 35-pound dumbbell, pick it up, carry it in that potted position, down, set it down, turn around, pick it up, come back. Then we'll do our reverse push-ups. Remember the band around the hands or the straps around the hands. Hands are open, reverse push-up, return. We'll do 20 of those. And then we have like a sandbell or a really light kettlebell on the ground, 1 foot right next to it, single leg RDL, grab it, take it, come up, go back, leave it, take it, leave it. Give me 5 take-its on each leg. And then our last proper pickup, 1 bucket, 1 kettlebell, whatever it is, proper pickup, carry it in the suitcase, go down, go back. We get through all of that. You did 1 set of everything. We've done all 4 carries that we wanted. We take a 90-second break, let them get some water, and we do it again. Then rest, we do it again. So by the time you're done, they don't really know that they did anything different as far as the workout goes, but we pretty much covered everything that I just showed you, right? I mean, we got every exercise in there. So you don't have to come in and say, today's the gardening workout. I want you to envision this is the rope as a hose, and like, we don't need to get into that deep. You can just start to plug in some of these to the pieces that you already do and make them into your regular workouts. But no, okay, this client loves to garden. She does it often. She's, got a touchy lower back and a banged up shoulder. Well, let's address these things. Let's make sure she's hinging right. Let's make sure she's doing these reverse curls because she's going to do a lot of pickups. Let's make sure she can get these pull downs, get her shoulder strong, make sure she can pick up stuff and carry it a lot. Let's do that for 4 to 6 weeks before April starts, because April season is when we start tilling up the dirt and we start bringing out all the new stuff. Like, we just planted those fruit trees because that's planting time that we did it now, but we did it because our soil is soft. Like the ground, you guys saw how easy it was for me to dig in that soil. It's never that easy. Like, we have time in the summer where we have to soak it for 2 hours, and then we'll dig 2 inches of dirt and then soak it again and put the sprinklers on it. And we're just like, why are we even trying to do this right now, right? It's good digging right now. So that's why we did it. But we know that April to May-ish, right in there, that's planting season. So you don't want to wait until then, because now you're trying to train and prep them for it, but it's already here. Same as like ski season. You start ski season training in September. knowing that they're going to be skiing at the end of December. I need 6 to 8 weeks to get them ready. So if we're sitting here first, second day of February, we've got 8 weeks. You guys can start prepping and start building in a couple of these and start programming in, 2, 3 of these a workout. You get to see them twice a week. And then you can get a little more creative and start building in some more complexes or variations. Pick up a kettlebell, carry it like a pot all the way down, set it down, turn around, reverse curl it for a set of 10, pick it up again, carry it back, right? Hold that weight, do the deloaded split squats, stand up, do the curls. I mean, you can start to kind of mix these together and create them. You know what you're doing, you know what you're training for, right? And if it's going to inspire them even more, call it the gardening workout. If it's just something you want to prep them for, just do your regular thing, right? But I'll say 10 clients for sure that daily they're like, is this a gardening workout? Because we can tell we're doing a lot of this or that. Like, I know that that's such a big part for them. By expressing it and saying, yes, it is, that makes them even more encouraged and inspired to do things better because they know exactly what it's directly correlating to, right? This isn't just training for life right now. This is my hobby. This is the thing that I love to do. So I want to be strong at it. And I will say, this is a 35-pound pot. Pick up that pot and carry it. And they respond to that. They like that, right? So one more little piece for you here. No, it's just a little butt crack here and there. She's cute. Anyway, she's got her mom's disease. A little bit of butt crack hanging out here and there. All right, trainingtheolderadult.com. If you guys have any other further questions, you know how to access the solutions now. Pop on the website. Feel free to send questions, comments right underneath what we did. I showed you in the very beginning where you can post your questions. If you have any interest in TOA Select, there's some examples of all the menus. I have mobility libraries. I have continued education libraries. Every month I add new stuff, 8 to 12 new items, depending on which piece it is. We get 8 new movements that are all detailed, and you guys have access to all of them, all these side lane prone, all these supine, all these 6-point, and either it's whatever I have coming up next or whatever you need. I will listen to the individuals in here and say, I want to learn this exercise, and I'll plug it in there for you. I do waffles, I do anatomy instructions, I do program designs, I do online training components. It's what I've always dreamed about doing, is having a venue to deliver content to you guys on a weekly basis. It's at this time every Wednesday. If you are interested for the rest of the year, everything that we've done up to now, it's all recorded. You guys can go back, and they are not reliant on seeing something else. Every topic pretty much stands alone. And then starting next week, this coming Tuesday, the 9th, we start OTOA, Online Training the Older Adult. Day one, we're going to talk about all the software and hardware and the equipment that you will need to train your clients. Your clients will need from microphones and wireless mics and headsets to the bands and the equipment you might ask them to do, how it differs from what the typical online training systems that we see in our industry, and how we really have to change that specific to fit an older demographic to where the clients absolutely love it. Like, my clients love doing this online component. They'd rather see me in person. I get that, but this is a very comfortable situation for them to train because of how we're doing it. So it still gives them that feeling of camaraderie and the instruction and the cueing. We go through everything, how we do the consultation, how we do our movement observation, the first session all the way after 8 weeks of training. I'm going to give you, 50, 60 different at-home exercises. We call it our staple 30, but I'm going to say it's double that, because I have a ton where I'm like, here's what you do with this one, and then here's a progression you can take it, or a regression. So I'd say maybe even up to 90 different exercises that I'm going to show you that you can do at home with really minimal equipment. And then the very last day, I'm going to train you. So I'll get to see you guys in your space, in your environment, and we will go through and do a learn by participation session, and I'll get to train you from your gym or your house, and we'll have a good time together. So I hope if you have any interest in that, feel free to head over to trainingtheolderadult.com, and you can see all the information there. We have a couple other really big things coming up here in the future, and if you haven't joined our newsletter, please be sure to hop on there and do that as well. If you have questions, now is the time, and I would love it if you would put them in the chat, please. not in the Q&A tab. So if you have questions, go ahead and fire away on there, and I'm happy to stay on here as long as questions are asked. I will answer. If you have to get going, I totally get it. No worries. And thank you very much for being here. You can get the PDFs to download to see everything. You can also access the recording, as I showed you guys at the very beginning, all on there. Just create your password, hop into the library, and you are good to go. It will take us a couple of hours here to get this converted over. Once it's downloaded and uploaded there too, you guys will get an alert. So thank you. Thank you everyone that came on. I really appreciate it. Appreciate your time. You guys have a great day, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much. All right. Questions here. Let's go to Eric. I saw Eric. Do you have any program or videos for older adults who are at home with limited equipment? So Eric, we don't do, basically our clients have to have our kit. They have to have our basic equipment kit. And the basic kit is $52. It's basically the price of a private session. And so if our clients have a hard time affording that, I'll ask them, I'll say, like, instead of us doing our first hour-long session together where I would do the normal things I would do in our first session, our full movement observation, all that, I say, take the money from this, buy the kit, and then I'll give you a very modified version of this. I don't want to skip things, but I just want to make it worth their investment. And I want to be able to get them to have that kit. So basically I'll do a session for free if they can get the kit going. And then I can kind of get them observed and assessed with that first session that we do. I'll basically kind of do that for free. Let them put that investment of the first session into their equipment so we can go. It's a door anchor, 3 different super bands, a set of mini band kit, and a foam roller. And that's basically all I need. Okay. If they can have that, I can do 80% of the things I want to do. If they can add another $50 and get a light set of dumbbells and a medium set of dumbbells, we're even better. So most people are getting like 5s and 15s or 10s and 20s, something like that. If they can do that, we're even better. So now we're looking at $100. And then if they could get 1 or 2 kettlebells, $150, we're even better. I can do everything. I can do all the stuff that I want to do with that setup. And I'm going to say 500 different lifts. I mean, there's so many different components and pieces. As long as I can hook the bands to something and or to myself, self-anchor it to my feet or my hands or however we do, and I have all those other implements, the dumbbells and kettlebells, it's a lot. So as long as they can do $50, we're in. We have to have resistance. I know people want to do just at-home body weight, but you've been moving your body weight forever. So if for us to really have some kind of change here, I have to have load. We have to have resistance to work with. And then I'll hear people say, well, if I'm really heavy, I can't work with external load. I get it, but you also can't move very well, right? And we can't work through bigger ranges of motion. So in some cases, working lighter load would actually be more beneficial, right? Working with some lighter dumbbells and building up some strength will kind of give us a twofer. We could do it at higher tempos. We can work, but anyway, I'll get deep into it. The idea is we got to have an investment of equipment. You got to do it if you're going to work with me. And there are some programs out there that just do body weight stuff. That's fine. But the name of my business was Be Stronger Fitness. Like, the whole idea is for us to get stronger, we have to have resistance. It's got to be there. So we start with that. If we can't go there, I'd have to send them off somewhere else, I guess. I don't want to do that, but we got to have some kind of buy-in. Might be a silly question, but will you be uploading the meeting to your site? Will be available to watch and exercise demos. So you'll get to see the same thing we just saw here. You'll be able to watch this back. I don't have the individual exercises listed out in the library. That's what TOA Select kind of incorporates, is that you get access to all those videos. And we're talking 200 and something exercises we'll have by the end of the year. So you can rewatch the video back and see those videos of the exercises anytime you want. Yeah, you guys now have access. Go to the link in the email that we sent you that takes you to the website. Register by just putting your email in there and you're good. I went through this at the very, very beginning, but a couple of you said you missed it. You go to the website, you log in for that, and then create your password, and you guys are in. I'll show you here in just a second too. I can take you through it, and we'll go through there. I'm a volunteer gardener where I live. Our organization is care for 45. Okay, I don't want to say the name of it up here. 60 volunteers would be a great volunteer, by the way. We won 2 national awards last year. Check out the website. Very cool. Yeah. So Gina, you know what we're talking about, along with a lot of this stuff. How many bendovers and hinges and rounding backs and all that can come into it. Getting some really good practice in the weight room could be really beneficial. How could we obtain a kit? So we have the kit. Let me drop out of here and I'll show you guys. You can all do this. Like, you can set this up with Perform Better. I don't know if all organizations do this, like if Rogue does this or Spry or any of the others. But if you go to Perform Better and you call them up and say, hey, I want to have a kit, I want to have a fitness kit, they'll make you one. And your clients just call and say, I want the Eric Lopez kit, I want the Gina kit, or whatever you call it. And the kit's made. So here's our kit, our equipment kit. You guys call Perform Better. Here's the number, and you give them Q69335, and that's everything that's included. First place super bands, orange, black, and yellow. First place mini bands, extra large pack, a TheraBand, door anchor, 2 dumbbells. The clients will then tell them what dumbbells, and then a 6-inch foam roller, firm foam roller, and they're good to go. And all of that is $58, not 52, $58 plus whatever the dumbbells cost. Those prices vary, and then they're good to go. So this little video shows them how to use the bands, how to do the anchors, how to get all that set up. So you guys can call Perform Better and say, I want to make a kit, and put whatever you want in there, right? Whatever you think you're going to need as a base. I've seen some as simple as 2 mini bands, 1 super band, and a door anchor, or not even the door. Like, it can be whatever you guys want. It just makes purchasing really, really easy for your clients, because when they pop over there, instead of you sending them, emails with links and you got to purchase, they can just call and do it in one shot, and they're finished. And the other nice part too is, depending on years of relationship you have with Perform Better or whoever you might use, all I can say is for Perform Better, they've been offering discounts extended out off of this. So let's say they're like, oh, you've been a customer of ours for I don't know how many years. It gives you 20% off. They'll give you 20% off your clients as well. So they're very, very cool, very friendly business. And sometimes, like, you get the bands in 3 days, the dumbbells are on back order. As soon as they come in, you're in order, right, to get them. Like, it doesn't just say come back later like some of the other sites do. Like, they let you get your order in. So they're very cool at this. Yeah, it's a really easy way to help your clients get equipment. And on occasion too, I'll have a client get on Zoom with me, and I'll go on the site and like pick out all the pieces for them too, and they'll just put in their credit card at the end and go, because we are working, with some folks that maybe aren't super computer savvy. And I'm not just saying because they're older, just some folks just don't want to deal with it. So I'll get on there with them and take them through the steps and do it and have everything shipped to them, and they're good. It takes 20 minutes and we're ready to roll. For those of you that want to see the login information here, so if you go to trainingtheolderadult.com, it'll look like this when you come in. You're going to click on, this will be empty. It'll just be a little outline of a person. If you haven't made an account yet, you will click on that. And then under My Library, you'll have to log in. And when you click in login, you don't have one yet, you'll have to click on the create a password and go through those steps. You put in your thing, it'll send you an email. You'll go back to that, confirm it, and then come back here, go ahead and log in. And then when you hit My Library, you'll see this Athletic Solutions, and you click on that guy, and you're in. They'll have a little profile of you in there, and then here's our welcome to Athletic Solutions. There's gardening, we have tennis and golf to come, hiking and walking to come, ski strong essentials. We don't have our outdoorsman mountaineering one up there yet. I think that's one I haven't done. And then if you click on gardening, in there you will see this guy takes you in all the comments, and then your download right here. Those are the PDFs right there. You can click and download, and off you go. And then if you have any other questions, you see some of the ones here, feel free to throw your questions in there and we will take care of you. Sound good? Nice and easy. I really appreciate you all. Any other questions? I'll stay on another 30 seconds so I see anything else pop up. I appreciate you all being here. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing it, and I hope some of you get some really good carryover for your people. So thank you. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate all the really kind comments on here. I'm glad you guys liked it. This was outside the box for us. I haven't done anything like this one before, but I train enough people for it. We do it. I feel like it was a pretty good fit. You will not see like a select for basketball or for badminton or anything that we don't do. I walk, I hike, I mountaineer, I garden, I golf, I've taught tennis. So all those are kind of in the wheelhouse. So we should have some decent stuff to share with you. All right, everyone. We will see you next time. Thank you so much. Have a great day. I love you guys, and we'll see you soon.